Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Great. Okay, so let's go straight to energy, because I don't want to sleep in darkness, and I don't want us to have a situation where jobs are lost and people are dying because of a doomsday sort of situation. What's your appreciation of the situation, Prof Bokpin, and what's the salvation?
Look, I've said it before, that apart from irresponsible mining, including illegal mining, what causes me sleepless nights is the energy sector. We have seen, given the two main political parties that have had opportunity to manage that sector, that we can no longer do politics with it. We've seen the track record of the NDC, run up to 2016. We've seen the MPP come. We've seen the challenges and all of that. We've seen NDC back. Clearly, they are all saying the same thing. There are fundamental issues that needs to be resolved. And I think that gives me comfort, because we are at the stage where politicization doesn't help. Now, what is the issue? If you look at, in terms of distribution losses, the distribution losses on the books of ECG is way above the world average. That is not sustainable.
I understand about some 40%, is it?
It's very high. So
that's like criminal.
Yeah, so if you are doing 15%, it's very high. So with that level of losses, you cannot, in economics, you cannot talk about realistic pricing. You cannot pass on all those losses to the ultimate consumer. No. Then again, you want to look at collection losses. Collection losses, we are looking at close to 15%. Again, that's above world average. It's not sustainable. Apart from that, you also want to look at the tariff gaps in terms of the pricing formula and all of that. If you put all of these things, then apart from that, you also see that there are ministries, department, agencies, and you heard the minister saying that it's about time ministry, department, agencies take responsibility for their energy consumption.
Right.
Then you also want to add onto that sensitive installations of government, where they don't pay the electricity bill and all of that. Somebody once reminded me that, have I noticed where ice blocks come from in this country for pure water sellers? Somebody said probably it's from police stations, it's from whatever, where. I don't know. I'm not saying it's true. I'm saying somebody just whispered to me.
You see the deep freezers
yeah.
at the back of their homes. You know, yes. They are very dilapidated, often, courtesies.
So somebody reminded me. I've not been able to verify myself. So if you put all these sensitive installations that are not paying for the electricity consumption, ministries, department, agencies, and some educational institutions, if you put all these things together, there is no way we can see a future in this direction. So what is the way forward? And I'm seeing why the upbeat from government side is so strong. Here you have a government that is talking about 24-hour economy. You are not even getting power for your 8-hour economy, right? Cycle that we are running. And you are talking about 24-hour economy. So I
suppose they'll regret that particular promise, because it doesn't look like they can fulfill it. Anyway, back to the main subject.
I mean, sometimes a good leader needs to tickle people a bit. It doesn't mean you accomplish that, right? So, said that, of course. So I believe they will make some progress, progressively. So if you put all these things together and you look at internal issues with ECG, with procurement, management, interference, and all of that, I think we are at a point where I believe we should all support government in some kind of a private sector participation in the downstream distribution. And I think that may be different from saying we are selling ECG. Government can still be the sole shareholder of ECG, but we should be able to invite private sector in the distribution of power and collection, which will also require the private sector to bring in capital and also bring in private sector efficiency in all of that. But on this current model, I don't think that it is sustainable. And I believe that there are structural reforms under the IMF-supported program with respect to how ECG ought to be managed. And there are clear indicators that government has to meet as part of our ongoing IMF-supported program. I know Cabinet has to take a decision on ECG in terms of private sector participation, and I believe that government must communicate this clearly to Ghanaians. That is different from selling ECG as a company. ECG can still be a holding company, wholly owned by government of Ghana, but I think we should be able to invite private sector participation.
As always, the staff are against it. They don't want to hear it.
Change will be resisted because people want to preserve their comfort zone. And remember,
they have the experience of the PDS scam.
But even if you look at the PDS, the first few months and all of that, in terms of collection effort and the rest of them, because you see, when you see rots, you see inefficiency, it is possible some people are benefiting from it. It's possible some people's lifestyle is offloaded.
You should hear the managers talk about how internally people appear to hijack and tweak some meter systems and all of that. It's like a den of thieves.
Yeah, and I think that we need to break that. And I believe that, and I'm calling on Ghanaians, that we need to rally behind government. This is not politics. When your power goes off, it doesn't discriminate. And in fact, recently we were in Kumasi. I mean, and it was that terrible. I've been living at the University of Ghana, so I didn't really get to experience it. When I stepped, I was like, what is happening here? Is that what you guys go through every night and all of that? It was that bad, please. It was that bad. So please, let's do away with the politics. I'm expecting the minority in parliament because a lot of the reforms for which the current minister is implementing actually started with the previous administration as part of the IMF-supported program and the structural benchmarks about reforming the energy sector. Right. And I think we need to do that so that we can have reliable, predictable power for our industrial uptake and the rest of them. And I think that beyond that, once we are able to invite the private sector participation, the idea of procurement abuse and all of that will be minimized because ECG then probably could be a holding company, right? And then this private, and of course, government can decide whether they want to offload all of that to a single private sector or probably maybe 4 or so of them and create some kind of internal competition. I will favor that as well, rather than offloading all of that to just one entity and all of that and see how the management can go. But seriously, Ghana needs help. And then again, you see from the budget, you see the minister saying that they need about $1.1 billion and the ministry, because you see, from the ministry point of view, they are administering what we call a shock therapy. They are controlling expenditure as much as possible. So with all this coming up, it's very difficult to get the minister to just quickly play along because it has implication in terms of the stability
of the
they want to have here, because that is what is playing out in the stability.
We'll get there. So, Prof, hold on there quickly.
Thank you.
Let me go on Zoom and speak to Engineer Harriet Amisa Arthur, co-founder and executive partner, Arthur Energy Africa.